Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about an oracle deck that is quite different, and it is actually an oracle deck that is all about gods from different pantheons, and I actually think of this oracle deck as my yang deck because it has a lot of yang energy. And the oracle deck is called the Promethean Oracle, and the artwork is by Sophia Kelly Shultz, and the co-author of the book is Mark Cogan. So here is the box. It was published by Schiffer, and it is published by Red Feather, which is a branch of Schiffer. It was published in 2017, so it was published a couple of years ago. So here is the box, and it's in the usual Schiffer type of box. It's a hard cardboard box, and it has a magnetic ribbon clasp on the side. So you can see by the artwork, it's a very interesting deck. It's the artwork that actually drew me into getting the deck. I didn't really intend to get this deck, but the artwork looks really interesting and different. So here is the box. Here is the book. The guidebook. And the guidebook has coloured pictures of the gods in here, and there is some information about each of the gods. And there is also space for making notes for each god. So there is a small amount of information about each of the gods, and there are quotes from related books in reference to each of the gods. And there is a very helpful piece of information also for each of the gods for the pronunciation of the names, because a lot of these gods come from different pantheons. The only thing about the book is there are no spreads in this book, but as I show you the cards, I will tell you why that isn't really such an issue. So here is the guidebook. Now, what I was saying about the book not having spreads, the reason why it doesn't have spreads is because it has other types of cards in here. It's a 50 card deck. There are 10 cards in here that can be used for spreads. There are 7 chakra cards, and there are 3 cards for timing, as in past, present and future. So I'll just show you some of the chakra cards, and with this deck it is the chakra cards that are actually referred to as the Prometheus cards. So the chakra cards are really the main way to read with the deck. So here is the back of the cards. It's a little bit glossy, as a lot of Schiffer cards are. The size of the card, it is bit bigger than a tarot card size. I think it's actually a little bit smaller than the usual oracle size. It's sort of in between that size. So here is the back of the cards. And I'm going to start by showing some of the chakra cards. So here is the heart chakra. And in the book there is a description for each of the chakra cards as well. Throat chakra. The cardstock is very good, but it's a bit glossy. Third eye chakra. And the crown chakra. And I'll show you the 3 cards that are used for timing. And the timing cards in this deck are called the Tempest cards. So the past card for the past is called the Ancestors. Here and now is the present. And yet to come is the future card. The titles are on the cards, it's just that they may not be showing up in the video, but the titles are on the cards. So I'm just going to show some of the cards from the main cards of the deck, and they come from different pantheons. There's Egyptian, Greek, Babylonian, and there is some Assyrian gods in there as well. So Babylonian and Assyrian gods. And there's also some Jewish gods in, not, well, I suppose they are kind of like god types of figures. I suppose I'd call them biblical people. And anyway, I'll show you as I go along. So this is Apollo. Chiron. Narcissus. finding his reflection in the water. Odysseus. I really like the artwork in this deck. It has a certain mood and atmosphere. So that is Odysseus. And Perseus. With the head of the Gorgon. Now for some of the Egyptian gods. Amun. Akhenaten. And there are some figures for the Egyptian cards that had actually been pharaohs. And a similar thing with the Babylonian cards or the Assyrian cards. There are cards from figures who had actually been kings. So this is Akhenaten. Anubis. Horus, the falcon-headed god. Osiris. And I love the way this card is showing both aspects of Osiris, because it's showing Osiris here with a green face, because Osiris was also known as a vegetation god. So I really like that dual aspect that's shown in this card for Osiris. And Set. It's a rather dark card because Set was quite a dark god. He had a long kind of snout, so he was a bit like an anteater type of creature. I think some say he had the head of a jackal. That's set. And I'm just going to show you a couple of other cards that are, for example, from the biblical type of figures. This is Ezekiel. And I really like this card. I just love the artwork. I think that's a great card for Ezekiel. And Gilgamesh, the Babylonian story of the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's very interesting. It's similar in a lot of ways to some of the early books of the Old Testament of the Bible. So I think the Epic of Gilgamesh is very interesting, and this is Gilgamesh. Okay, so there's some of the cards from the Promethean Oracle. I quite like this deck. I think it's different. I think the artwork is great. It's not a deck that's for everyone. I think for people who particularly want to learn more about gods, and I think I really like the idea of the chakra cards and the timing cards for past, present and future. I think that's a really good way to use the deck. And with the book having spaces in here to write your own notes or maybe to record your readings, the way I want to use the deck is to do further research about some of these gods, and I'm going to use those spaces in the book to write some of my own notes for my own interest. So I'll put the details below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.